Welcome to the best outdoors program just off the shores of the mighty Red River. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, the heart and soul of all things related to God's great outdoors. Starring Gary McCoy, an all-around outdoorsman with a CMA Award for Best Personality in Radio. A man who excels in the radio world and needs no introduction to the outdoors, whether standing tall in the winner's circle or sitting low in the deer stand. Mike Eccles, the boss, tournament trail director, and outstanding duck hunting guide with a wealth of outdoors knowledge who's not afraid to give his opinion with or without the facts. His years of bass tournament experience ensures that rules are followed and anglers are kept in check. And last but not least, Daiwa and Ranger Pro Steve Graff, a member of the Northwestern State University Hall of Fame with years of bass tournament experience who continues his pursuit of a double-digit bass and championship stringers. So let's jump on the front deck and make that first cast with the legendary minds of the great outdoors. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the one and only Steve Graff. Take it away, guys.
Hey, thanks a lot for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down everybody here this week. Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger Pro staffer, Steve Graff. The Mud Hen, Mike Eccles in the house. Topwater's in there wearing a Metallica t-shirt.
Yeah, I've heard of these guys. What? It was on sale at Target.
Okay,
you know, it fit
buy
me
one,
just
get
right.
one.
Yeah, I got a Rolling Stone shirt too.
All right.
Things are looking up.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, this part of the show brought to you by Bayou Outdoor Super Center. Steve Nichols and the gang at Specialty Track Host, CCA of Louisiana, and Despino and Jim South Tire. And one of the things that's coming up on the show, it's hard to believe, we are 8 weeks from dove season.
Yeah, right around the corner.
I mean, 8 weeks, hunting season is back on.
Yep.
And we've got Jeff Matthews coming up from Midnight Retrievers to talk about getting your hunting dog ready, the things that you need to start doing right now. And you know, Mike, you've been at this for a number of years. This is that time when, if like Luke, your dog is starting to show some signs, you might need to get him back over to Jeff for a little tune-up, huh?
Well, he could use a lobotomy, really. You know, another thing Mike's excited about, football starts this month.
Oh, yeah. See, we have a tough time with him every week trying to get him to stop talking about LSU.
I thought we'd already had the World Series. That's October. That's in duck season.
Hey, Johnny Guy's coming up on the show. We're going to talk a little bit of Lake Fork. I wonder if they're getting to fish today because it looks like it's brewing away.
They're not on Lake Fork. He's actually on Monticello today.
Oh, really?
And a storm just went through there, so
okay.
We'll see how they're doing.
Yeah. This one's going to be great. Martin Elshout is going to be on, representing Team Elshout and Price. And you know what now? These guys have been fishing together as long as I can remember.
Yes.
They've probably fished together longer than 90% of marriages.
Let's just put it this way. Since the 70s, they've been together.
It's unreal.
I was going to say at least 30, but now you're talking 45 years.
Yeah, he said when team fishing started, they paired up.
Wow.
When team fishing started in the 70s.
The biggest mistake I see in tournament fishing right now is guys, team members, pairing up with somebody that they don't know.
Yeah.
Fishing a few days, realize they're not compatible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like an internet dating or marriage or something, you know.
But he was so cute.
Yeah, and not making it.
She looked good in the dark.
Or fishing one season and not making it, breaking it up.
Yeah.
Anytime you fish with one person in a tournament or two tournaments and then quit fishing with them, you have given everything you know to at least 5 other people.
Sure.
And it's like a business. A fishing team is like a business.
Mm-hmm.
You're not very rarely do you have success first year.
Yeah.
In a business,
right,
or a team,
right.
You have got to build it. You've got to learn. You've got to grow together.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are the prime example. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'll bet you nobody can prove me wrong. I'll bet you that Martin Elshout and Mark Price are the best team ever in the state of Louisiana.
Oh, I wouldn't argue.
ever.
I wouldn't argue with it.
I wouldn't argue with it either.
No.
Well, good.
You know, but I mean, the fact is that
I'd lose it.
You by spending that much time together, you've got both heads that are working in union at that time, and one will never let you forget One will never let you. Remember now.
That cost an extra $100.
Hey, we got Chad Potts coming on too from the Bass Champs Tournament Trail, and a special report on some illegal hunting charges from our HUTD detective. He has been back at it again. Super sleuth Mike Eccles. And
when you have so many idiots around here, it's easy.
Is this the one that you've been telling me was a problem for most of the year?
No.
Okay.
This is national.
This
is national.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone out. I had to venture out. Matter of fact, I've got some expenses you need to cover. I've been traveling.
First and foremost, we've got the V&M Toledo Bend night tournaments. They're doing that on Thursdays?
No, this is a one-time
A one
event.
time, okay.
Yeah, that was a one-time
When is that?
I believe it was last week.
Okay.
Hold on. I think I have.
I'm just following instructions here.
Well, I don't know. Why is that on there?
It's a V&M night tournament.
Well, I thought I deleted that.
Well, guess
well,
what?
it's done. It's
Okay,
over.
But I tell you what we did have last Thursday.
I'll look it up.
We had the Landers Ram Cash Splash out on Cross Lake last Thursday. 78 or 9 teams. Jacob Fricks, who normally fished with Copen, and Copen couldn't get off from the fire station. Jacob won it, so the team did win it. 3 fish, $11.98, won $700. They also had big bass of 6.16 and won another $300 for that. Second place, Melanie and Steve Russell, husband and wife team. They had $11.81, won $600. Third place went to Boyd and Dennis Wolf, two brothers, $11.06. They got $500. Ben and Cade Clements came in fourth with a 10.00 to take home $400. Brian Hedrick and Keith Kershaw rounded out the top 5 with 9.92, $300. I think we paid 28 places. 28 teams got a check. Then we had the youth division. Thank you, Billy Phipps, for coming up with this idea several years ago. Bennett Hopkins won the youth division. Their team had 804, and he won $200 from David Cowden Roofing and Hooking Up and Tracking Down radio show. I've heard of those guys. Yeah. Second place went to William 2 with 7.43. He took $100 home from his uncle, the sponsor, National Loan and Jewelry. And then third place in the youth division was great kid Dawson Cowden, had 6.615, $50 from Ralph Yelverton Paint Contractors.
Hey.
Oh,
July. And our makeup tournament is this Thursday. If you're listening, be out there this Thursday. We're not skipping a week. We fished last Thursday, fishing this Thursday. The last one of the 8 qualifying. The championship be the last weekend in September.
All right.
Giving away a Triton boat out on Cross Lake.
And as Gary's already brought up, the V&M tournament, it is this Saturday, July the 8th, out of Big Bass Marina, which is kind of halfway between Pendleton and the Dam. It's on the Louisiana side. A great place, fully renovated. Ken Starks did a great job renovating this place. Beautiful facility, great place for a tournament. But it is a night tournament, and it's July the 8th. Tournament times are from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Wait a minute, is that right?
No,
it's registration. Yeah. Sorry, registration is Saturday, July 8th, 4 p.m., 7 p.m. Only V&M baits will be allowed. Trailering will be allowed. Weigh-in will close at 3:30 a.m., and which will be early Sunday morning. $120 entry fee includes big bass, 100% payback, $200 for the highest finishing team that is registered for Bash Cash Bash.
Yeah.
So, and that's what Mike's going to talk about a little bit later on, a little situation going on with them people. No, that was last week.
No,
we didn't really get to that either, did we?
No, we did, or did we?
No, we didn't. I looked it up. We bypassed it.
Okay.
Do you remember any details on that deal?
There was a guy, there were 2 guys who were fishing.
No, there was one guy who was fishing.
I thought there were 2 guys in the boat. One caught the fish, and he wasn't registered, but that's not the case.
Well, that's not the way I understood it.
Okay.
A guy that was not in the tournament, not entered in Bass Cash Bash,
right,
caught a fish that was tagged. He approached another guy.
Okay.
Maybe in the tournament he was fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
Approached another guy that was and talked to him about registering the fish. And they got caught, and
they were going to split the money.
Yeah.
Is that something they catch on polygraph?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't. I don't know what happened. I don't know that's the reason I told you to get VD Benson on. PD Benson, whatever his name is.
Money brings out the worst of people.
You know what? That's the toughest part.
Yes.
It's
but
like
congratulations on catching the sorry SOBs.
Yeah, exactly.
Suckers.
And he'd said a long time ago that every money winner is subject to be polygraphed.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't know whether or not that was how it went down, but the fact that they did is kind of redeeming to me. That
they caught him.
They caught him. Yeah.
And one of the questions I got, guys, and I'm glad Gary's here this week. He was out last week, but we didn't talk about this last week, Mike. Why aren't you've been tournament director, Mike? Why aren't night tournaments more popular here than that? Like Alabama and Georgia, they are huge. They have full circuits over there that are strictly night. Why is that not more popular here?
Because they don't work during the day.
Oh, okay.
Over there
they don't have jobs.
They sleep all day. They got to have something to do at night.
Bucket. I mean,
Yeah.
Hope they ain't listening.
I want you to think that it's probably just because we haven't pursued it enough. Have you ever thought about moving the Thursday night tournament to a weekend? To like a Friday night or Saturday night?
It will not be on Friday night.
Yeah.
Like that's when I drink beer and eat Mexican food. You're
that
not
in the boat
interfering
ramp.
with that.
Yeah.
That's Mike's social hour.
Why isn't it more popular?
I really don't have an answer. I've always wondered, why is it? I'm telling you, these boats I see in Alabama and Georgia are rigged with headlights. I mean, they're built into the boat. And I was like, are they that popular?
Now you say it's huge.
Yeah.
How big? How many teams?
Oh, over 100 teams per tournament.
You know what? Now I will say
that's
this.
what they draw over there on average. They say it's over 100
If they
teams
do,
per tournament.
then that's big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Porterfield and those guys that get into the bow fishing tournaments, those are huge, and they, to the best of my knowledge, only do those at night.
Yeah.
And I have seen them take over Toledo Town and tackle. Like on a Friday evening, they get ready. They're several hundred boats. It seems like.
Really?
And I mean, when they come into the weigh-in, that is the god awfulest thing you have ever seen. 9 million pounds of gar piled up on this boat.
What a mess that makes.
I think in those tournaments right there, you get a 1 pound penalty if your fish is alive.
Yeah.
But everybody's trying to beat the summer heat all the time, I asked Mike. I said, "It's because I'm getting older. I hate summertime fishing now. Literally hate it with a passion. I'd rather fish at 25 degrees than I had at 98 degrees.
Yeah.
Seriously, I really would.
You do any night fishing?
Yeah, I told you. I love night fish as long as I'm through about 7 p.m.
He does his best work at night.
Yeah, I do.
You know what, Greg McCormick and Mr. Cliff Ogden, they're at Tucker's, just love fishing at night. Now, Greg says that you can see Mr. Cliff's boat from outer space.
Oh, really?
When he says there's enough light on
LEDs on there.
He's like, dude.
There was a plane tried to land on his boat one night.
I can honestly tell you why I don't like it. I did one time, Randy Fair. The feeling when that sun's coming up and you've been up all night long.
Yeah.
I remember having that feeling when I played minor league baseball.
Yeah.
And being on the road, and you're on the bus, and you've been on the road all night, and that sun starts to come up.
Yeah.
That feeling is just something that I never got over, and I hate that feeling of it's like I just want to just crumble.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Take me home now.
Well, now Mr. Cliff stays there at Tucker's. I got my camper right there next to his, and literally he can pull in and go in and go right to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that guys that still had an hour drive after you get back to the bank,
right,
that could get dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's it. I don't know.
There would be, if I lived on the lake, there would probably be some times that I went to bed at 9 o'clock and woke up at 11:30, and I do that and can't go back to sleep. That I would go out and go fishing.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
they do a lot of. And Greg swears that a fish bites harder at night. He says, when you really. You don't know what's on the other end of that line.
Yeah.
And especially a topwater bite. He said it just shakes the world.
Yeah.
Well, I know a young lady, not anymore a young lady, but her husband night fished on Cross Lake for years. And she said it was like 4 or 5 years before she found out there were not red snapper on Cross Lake. That's what he would bring back every time he left the house to go night fishing.
We're hooking up and tracking down. We're going to leave it right there. 11:30, the Tiger.
Thanks for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, J&J Exterminating, V&M Baits, and Paul's Farm and Garden. Now's the time to get those deer plots ready for the upcoming season with seed from Paul's Farm and Garden. Now back to the guys who'll need a different kind of plot one day. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, Steve Graff, and Topwater Jay Wadley.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. On the phone with us, Jeff Matthews from Midnight Retrievers. And Jeff, you know, this is a tough time on a water dog, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is, and on us as well.
Oh yeah, now,
amen, brother.
When someone comes to you and says, Jeff, you know, I'm really thinking about getting my dog a little work in, you know, like during dove season, you know, because of the heat, what's one of those things that you really need to focus on as far as his safety is concerned?
Well, the biggest thing is has the dog had any conditioning prior to dove season? You know, I know everybody out there listening has probably already been working their dogs out and getting them ready for dove season, but if you haven't, the biggest thing is preconditioning going into opening day. You just can't bring him out of the AC or off the couch and expect him to be at top level for the opening day of dove season.
Best way to condition a dog, you just, you know, put him on a treadmill and you sit back and watch what?
You know, really for us, it's all about getting some exercise in out in the field. Simple obedience is the first thing that I do with a dog that comes in prior to hunting season. Something real short, easy, just to get his heart rate going, get the blood pumping. You know, we don't want to overdo it the first week that we have him in for training. And then as the dog becomes a little more accustomed to the heat, we go a little longer on the training session. And then we get away from the easy obedience, take him out in the field, throw some marks for him, and start to put a little more distance on him, get the heart rate really pumping then. But the biggest thing, too, is to allow that dog the right cool-down time after he does get through making his retrieves.
Now, Jeff, have you seen these? Other day I was watching the show, and the reason why I even thought of this to have you come on today was because of this program I was watching. They actually had a cool pack on the dog while he was working. Is that something you recommend? I mean, to me, you're trying to acclimate the dog to the heat. I couldn't understand the purpose of that. I guess unless maybe they were a northern type dog that's used to hunting in the colder weather. I don't know. Any recommendation on that?
It may just be where the dog was from, like you said, location in the country. I don't think in this area that would be something that most veterinarians would recommend. You know, as the dogs, they don't sweat any place else but other than the pads around their paws. And the biggest thing is if you have a dog that you feel like is getting overheated, you want to cool him down first and then start working on the hydration. Apply a little cool water to the dog's pads or put it around underneath the dog's armpit, so to speak, of the front legs or in the groin area, because that's where you're going to get the water to cool down the biggest part or the biggest blood vessels in the dog's body, and that's going to help the blood flow and cool off the dog as he does calm down from training.
So now, Jeff, I've had dogs all my life, and that's the first I've ever heard of the sweating around the pads. I did not know that.
Actually, I saw it in a magazine a couple months ago. I have a dog magazine that comes to the house, and that's what it says. The only place the dogs sweat is around the pads of their paws. Even got a picture of it, so I know it's got to be true.
It's on the internet.
well, look, Jeff, we're talking. Let's make it simple. We're talking working a dog in the heat, and obviously, you don't want to start with a big regimen if they haven't been working, which I'm guilty of. I laid off for months after duck season, and I'm back working Luke, and he's doing really well. But just give the people a time frame. The biggest thing, start early in the morning.
Yeah, when it's cool.
And not, you say late in the evening, which I know you have to work dogs late in the evening, but at 7 or 8 o'clock, it's hot.
Yeah.
But start in the morning, just say 4 or 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, nothing over 100 yards. Just kind of give us a layout.
Yeah, the biggest thing is really, what has a dog done prior to that? Let's just say you're coming off the couch, you haven't done anything since duck season. Really, between 5 to 7 minutes would probably be the max for a dog between 2 and 3 years old. Obviously, a puppy, you may get a little more out of it just because they're a little more energetic. They're not going to get as hot as fast, I don't think. But an older, more mature dog, 5 to 7 minutes, do that for a couple of weeks just to get him back in the routine. Then after those 2 weeks are up, you should notice his stamina start to increase some. Hopefully he's not panting as hard as he was when you started the first 2 weeks prior. A lot of this goes back to the right diet as well. Don't let him sit around the house and eat Cheetos and watch Oprah. I mean, start watching his dog food, his intake. And
my dog won't watch Oprah.
You taught your dog better than that.
Kill him.
Or Barney, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm joking. No,
well, Jeff, how do you motivate? Do you have trouble? Are all dogs just naturally motivated when it comes to retrieving? Do they come out of the box ready to go, or will dogs be like people? I'm hard time getting him to go to make a move.
Really, each dog is different. But no, not every dog that is technically a lab, a retriever, is motivated to be a working dog. And that's no different than people. Some people are highly motivated, go get it. Some just don't want to do anything. And some, we very seldom see that, but on occasion we do. And if a dog is lackluster, doesn't really want to retrieve, you're obviously not going to have to worry about him getting overheated. It's the dogs like Mike has that are gung-ho, drive through a brick wall to go get that bird. Those are the ones you have to be cautious of because they don't know when to stop. They'll go until they just almost have suffer from heat exhaustion.
Is it also a sign of an older dog that may not be as motivated? They're like, I ain't doing this no more. I'm tired of doing this. I've had enough of this. I've been doing this for 10 years. It's time to retire. I mean, do they think like that, or?
It goes back to the dog's personal want to. If that dog's always been gung-ho and ready to retrieve since day one that you got it, even at 10 years old, that dog is he's going to show less ability, but the desire is normally always there. Normally the body wears out before the brain does, and most of your really nice, hard-working dogs, they always want to go get it, and it's up to the owner to decide, look, okay, he's 10, 11, maybe 12 years old, and that's pushing it. Maybe we want to think about getting a new puppy or giving him, a rotation during hunting season, or even if you're going to work him prior to conditioning, maybe go Monday, Wednesday, Friday with an older dog, whereas a younger dog in his prime, you could get 5 or 6 days out of too.
Jeff, what about water conditioning? Because, in my house, you trained my son Buddy's dog Gator, and at my house, I got a pretty good-sized pond there. And, we all know that swimming and stuff like that is really good conditioning for a human. And at the same time, you're still able to keep the dog relatively cool. Can you prolong that if you're doing most of those retrieves in the water?
I always err on the side of caution during the summer months.
Gotcha.
For long swims.
Yeah.
Just because unless you're in a really deep pond and that water's cool, the water heats up just as bad as it does on the air temperature outside.
Good point, yeah.
So you're not really cooling a dog off, although he's in the water. So for us, we try to train on the in and out type stuff, get him wet, That way it gives him a chance to evaporate that, the heat off of him, but he does have a little cooling effect too.
Okay, and I was just fixing to bring up the same point, but my question, if you're going to do both in the summer, land retrieves and then turn around and do water retrieves, is there a sequence? Should you do the water first and then the land, or vice versa?
Typically it depends on if it's just you and your dog, and also if you have a big group of people. Normally for us, we try to, because the dogs run faster on land, we'll get in a land series first, and then as it heats up on the weekends, we'll get in the water series after that. And it's just to get them wet, put them on a tie-out stake around the trailer, let them cool off, and as we go through the rotation of dogs.
And something I've noticed with Jeff, it really just goes back into how conscientious he is. Dogs get wet, he stakes them out, lets them dry, and then he dries them with a towel a lot of times before he puts them. He will not put a wet dog back in the kennel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something I was impressed with.
Biggest sign that a dog can give you, if let's just say that you've gone a little bit too long, what's the biggest sign that, hey, look,
no heartbeat.
Yeah, that'll do it every time. I knew it the minute I saw he was blue. No, what's something that you really need to watch for, Jeff?
The tongue.
So really, you have two different stages that you need to look out for. You have heat stress. Some of those signs are seeking shade, heavy panting, lack of coordination, loss of focus, and motivation for training. That's heat stress.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the more severe, which is heat stroke, anxious behavior, really thick drooling, extreme panting, vomiting, diarrhea. The gums and the tongue may turn bright pink or bright red. If you see any of those symptoms, you need to get your dog to the vet as soon as you can, because that's normally signs of heat stroke in a dog.
Wow.
And that's probably that far along that you're not going to be able to help him. You probably have to have IVs after that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And just a few tips also. Use cool water under your dog's front legs, like I said, and in the groin area where there's a high concentration of large blood vessels to aid in cooling. Do not cover a dog with a wet towel or blanket. You want to be sure that the water can evaporate off the dog, and that actually stops the evaporation process and causes it to be in a sauna. Like Mike said, they all get dried off when they're with me, and I don't put them right back into the trailer, because the trailer will act as a sauna. They've got to have a way to release that steam.
What about drinking water, Jeff? Cold or room temperature? What on?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just cool water. You don't want to use ice water, because ice water, it cools them down too quickly, and it can actually cause the blood vessels to constrict, which flows the blood to the brain and the cooling, and doesn't help in the cooling process. So don't take out, even during dove season, I've heard guys, I got a cooler full of ice water over there. It's actually the worst case. If your dog gets too hot, you dump him in that ice chest full of ice water, you'll almost send him in a hypothermia shock. So you just want lukewarm water. Let the dog drink. If he's not wanting to drink, you think he's too hot, then he's trying to pant and cool down himself. Let him do his thing, but always have water there available for him.
But take that training real slow as you start progressing him, getting him ready for this coming season.
I'm sorry, Gary, what was that?
I said take that training real slow as you start getting him ready for the season.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no different than an athlete, that's having time off. They're not going to go out and start running a marathon whenever they get ready to get back out there. So it's just slow, gradual steps. It's no different than you putting down the rod and reel and getting back out working your dog.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to slowly work back into it and base it off of your dog's want to. If you see he wants a little more, his tongue's not hanging out like it was when he first started, a week or so ago, then give him an extra mark or an extra blind. But if you still see like he's getting really hot, or he comes back and he's trying to lay down next to you, then he's telling you, look, I'm too hot. That's the time to stop. There's always tomorrow. Don't push that dog.
Amen. Good advice. Jeff Matthews from Midnight Retrievers. Thank you, brother. Boy, it's good to hear from you again.
Yeah, Jeff.
Thank y'all very much.
Hey, if it saves one dog, we're talking about, a member of your family. You think about Luke, you don't want to have to.
Well, and I think I told y'all this here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had a guy send me a text, said, I've heard on the radio show about how to treat a dog if they got into poison.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the third person that's texted me this in the last couple of years since we talked about treating a dog that had gotten into poison. My dog got into rat poison. We looked it up. It's hydrogen peroxide, a couple of teaspoons, tablespoons, depending on the dog's weight, right down the throat, and it'll cause them to throw it up. This guy did it, called me back and said the dog threw up the poison. And, it's just really good to know that we may have saved 2 or 3 dogs' lives just by that little bit of BS information we put out.
Amen. Hey, listen, sit tight. We're going to Lake Fork. Well, actually, we're not.
We're going to Monticello.
We're going to Monticello with Johnny Geis here in just a minute, hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
You're listening to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Nichols Department Stores, and Louisiana Coastal Conservation Association, making a difference in the future of our waterways. Once again, here's Steve, Gary, Mike, and Jay.
Hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger, and a little word from United Rentals. You know, your one-stop shop for all your rental tools and equipment needs. Services like custom on-site solutions, online management tools that will simplify and save you money on any and all of your projects, with online services and equipment protection plans that will make your job easier and safer. United Rentals will make sure that your rental equipment is used effectively and efficiently so that you get the most out of your rental time. Go to UnitedRentals.com to find a dealer near you. United Rentals, the largest rental company in the world. Thank you, Brother David Duschel.
Oh, yeah. We couldn't do without great sponsors like that.
And Johnny Geis.
Johnny Geis.
Yes. Johnny Geis left. He went to Monticello this morning. Was there a storm, Johnny?
Yes, there was. We got to fish about 10, 15 minutes, caught 2 real quick. Oh, they fixed the bite, and the storm blows in, and we had up under the railroad bridge for about an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. So it's a pretty good little storm, man.
Yeah, it stayed with us this morning, but it's crazy weather out here. It's water temperature is 95, and the air temperature is 69. So go figure.
Well, you know, with you going to Monticello like that, is it because the bite has slacked off on Lake Fork, or because the bite has really come alive on Monticello?
No, the real reason is my boat's in the shop, and I had to catch a ride with a buddy.
He's boatless.
Yeah, I had a fluid engine on the old Evan Root E-Tech, so it's in the shop getting repaired. So I've had to just branch out and catch a ride where I could, and we've been catching pretty good on fork, got shallow, just taking a different technique than I usually do, and that's been fun. So came over to Monticello one day last week, caught some good ones punching hydrilla. So we're playing with that today.
When you punch, what stands out in your head? What are you looking for? What tells you that this bed ought to have some fish in it and they ought to be right here? What are you looking for?
Well, you know, when they haven't been over here in a while and it's changed so much, we got so many pads over here. We're in Smith Creek, right above the railroad bridge in Monticello, and a lot of lily pads, but there's hydrilla growing on the outside edges of it now. So there's really no structure at all, pretty much of a bowl bottom out here. So they're scattered. You just happen to catch a day when they're biting, you catch them, and if they're not biting, you don't, because when they run these stacks on the power plant lake, fish really bite good. And it's dead today. So we're really not having a good day.
What's your preferred bait when you're punching?
Well, I was catching on a biffle bug last time I was here, and just with a 1 ounce weight, and I changed over to a B&M 3/4 ounce football jig. That's what we're catching some on fork on, and thought we should go fish deep. And I said, well, I'll make a couple pitches with it. And I went to whacking the heck out of them with that, and I never would have thought about fishing a football head and hydrilla, but it fished real clean, and I was getting a good many bites. You know, it changes. You just you experiment a little bit. I mean, I don't hesitate to go down to pitching a trick worm if that's what it takes.
Well, another great bait too is that Zoom Super Hog. Those are really good. They're slender. They punch the grass really well. Even the beavers do really well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Monticello's such a great little lake. It's got so many fish in it. But Lake Fork fish, we'll go back to talk about that a minute. These big fish have been on a bite and been on a tear out deep right now, and a lot of people are catching them out there. And 4 to 7, 8 pound fish, football head jigs, and big 3/4 ounce shaky head. So we got a good deep bite going right now.
But if you were over there today, Johnny, would you be throwing the football head jig or the football head brim?
Oh, it'd be the football head brim. As soon as I can get the boat back to the water, they probably starved to death while I've been off the water for a week.
How much longer before you back in action?
I think we're supposed to have it out by Friday or Saturday. I hope we do.
John,
it's just one of them deals that happens.
Let's back up to the shaky head deal. You know, that's something we don't talk about on here very much. And a lot of people, when you think of a shaky head, you think of a little old 1/4 ounce ball head with a trick worm or a 4-inch worm. But some people have actually started throwing 8 and 9-inch worms on a shaky head on, like you said, a 3/4 ounce head.
Yeah, your sponsor, the V&M, has been just real hot on fork right now, and that big worm that they've got on a shaky head, the 3/4 ounce head, is catching a lot of fish. And sometimes they want you to drag that a big football jig right on the bottom. Sometimes they want to pitch that worm in there and just use a shaky head technique and catch them on that.
Well, a lot of people too think you have to throw a shaky head on a spinning rig. You don't. You can throw it on a bait cast, especially when you're going that size.
No, we're fishing 21, 25 foot of water, and most everybody this time of year, early in the spring, we kind of use a spinning rod a little bit on that. But once they get out deep and gang up real big, most everybody's fishing it with the casting rod bill right now.
Johnny, you're not over there with Mac Bain, are you?
No, I was with Mac last week, and he's the one that came with me. We caught a bunch of them in there last week together. So we just out here with another bud from Monroe and Sam Trinka, and we're tied up now, so we're trying to break that tie.
Johnny, when you're punching grass or pads or stuff on a lake, and I'm sure Monticello the water's clear, but if you're punching hydrilla mats, I know you got to have a heavy line to get the fish out. Do you think the line size or the difference in braid or fluorocarbon makes a difference when you're punching in that thick of grass? I mean, a lot of times in clear water, you want to steer away from the braid. You think the fish can see it, but
yeah, I do. And again, if it's real shallow water and it's a little bit murky and stained a little bit, it don't matter what you throw. But Monticello, it really gets clear in the hydrilla. I mean, we're pulling along, and you can see down on the edges, and the jig's falling straight through, so it's open underneath it. So I'm throwing the fluorocarbon today.
Well, another thing too that you can do with that is you can throw the fluorocarbon leader on the braid, which has the same result. I mean, that's what I've started doing a lot the past 2 years.
Question, Johnny. You being the expert on this, I want to ask you as to with the fluorocarbon, what knot do you tie?
Oh, you can't throw it to a Palomar knot on fluorocarbon. It'll break off in a heartbeat.
Right.
Any type of I call it hangman's noose type knot. Anything that comes in itself with a San Diego jam knot or something like that. But you got to have something where that line doesn't cross itself to cut it. I mean, it's real prone to, as you well know, to break on the hook set.
Right.
And you just use a different knot. I just use the regular trilene improved clinch knot, and that seems to do fine. But I'd probably do a little bit different if I was tournament fishing.
You can go to on the internet. You can word search Shaw Grigsby knot, and it will pull that knot up. And Shaw actually demonstrates how to tie a fluorocarbon knot, and it's the one I've been throwing for the last 2 years, and it is a great knot. It does very well. It's easy to learn too.
You know, a lot of people actually do the. Well, they don't tie it direct to the hook. They go through and do a what am I thinking of, guys? Yeah, a what? Snell the hook.
Oh, snell hook. Yeah.
A lot of people do that snell, and that fluorocarbon work good on snelling a knot too. It'll come through there pretty good. But I hate fluorocarbon. Let me go ahead and get that off my chest because it's a line it just is not user friendly and it does kink up on you. But there's definitely a usage for it and a time to use it. But hey, when they're biting, let's put that 55-pound braid and catch the fish.
Amen.
There you go. Don't worry about no knot.
Okay, so if somebody was wanting to go fishing with you on Lake Fork and try some of the brim fishing, are you having any trouble finding your brim?
No, it's easy. It's been easy sure I'll catch brim. I ain't focusing on certain size brim to get some bites right now.
Yeah.
Our white bass have still disappeared and haven't been able to find them, but I assume they'll show back up sooner or later. But that's one thing that's missing for some reason or other. They found them a hiding spot out there, and nobody can seem to catch those things.
Well,
The bass are back on all the regular honks now because the sand bass are gone, and they seem to be biting better that they're gone.
I can tell you 2 days he's booked, 24th and 25th of July, because I'm going. Me and my daughter, we're headed over to Fork to fish with Johnny.
So Johnny, if you do get the boat back this Friday, are you open next week, or are you trying to make good some trips you had scheduled for this week?
Yeah, I've had to reschedule 6 trips during the last few days and just rescheduled one a few minutes ago. But I've got some dates open towards the end of the month, and nothing at all hardly booked in August. And last year they held up pretty good in August. I put the T-top on the boat by then, so we get a little bit of shade, and it's pretty comfortable fishing out there when you get under the shade of the top and drop the brim down and still catching big fish. But still a good time to come, and a lot of good quality fish still biting. And if somebody wants to come, it's time to book it.
Can you get us an air conditioner on that boat for those August trips?
Ranger makes one.
We can go about 45 miles an hour. So we'll
Well, if I need to bring my boat, you let me know. 'Cause if your boat's out of commission, I'm not canceling a trip. We take my boat.
That'll work.
Okay, if we're going to get in the boat with Johnny Geis and we're going to try to take some of these brim, and I'm telling you, we've all three been there, and it is some of the most exciting, fast-paced, big fish action that you could ever possibly want to see. And especially if you've got a young angler like Steve's daughter or something along those lines, and you really want them to to get that big-eyed, wild-eyed bewilderment, of oh my God, look at this, what I've got on my line.
I still have that.
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah. What do we need to do, Johnny, to get in a boat with you?
Well, I tell you what, all you got to do is call 972-800-3882, 972-800-3882, and website is lakeforkbigfish.com. We'll book the trip.
And you're keeping your Facebook page posted with those pictures of the big fish too, aren't you?
Yeah, they've been just some regular old fish on it the last 7 or 8 days of where we've been catching some. But I did catch over up the Glade Creek on Fork on swim fish last week. So there's still some big ones to be caught in shallow water. Yeah, but I do post almost daily on that.
How big and over?
It was 8.70, 24 and a half inches.
Wow.
4 foot of water. So you never
fish.
know on Lake Fork. That's the beauty of that lake. You can catch them 3 foot or 30 foot.
Amen. Johnny Geis.
Where you fishing?
Thank you, brother. We
Thank you,
appreciate you again.
Do what now?
I said we appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Y'all come fishing. Thanks.
You betcha.
All right.
All right, bye.
Think he was still under the bridge?
I think so.
Yeah. You know what? That storm was coming through. I hadn't had a chance to look outside.
It was a big band coming out of there. There was a little band yesterday came out of the southwest. And just broke up before it got to Shreveport and went north.
Yeah.
But this morning, this one was coming out of the northwest, and it hit Texarkana and Texas.
All right, I got a question for you, Eccles, before we go to break real quick. If you had your choice to either fish right before the storm hit, you're going to Caddo. You're going to fish right before the storm hits or right after the storm blows through?
Neither. I'm going to be there while it's going on.
While it's storming?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
See, that's something
Yep,
I didn't think about. Yeah. Only Eccles will be out there with lightning popping all around. Hey, we're hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
At Hooking Up and Tracking Down, we love to be social. So check out our Facebook page at Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show for outdoors news and some interesting as well as educational outdoor videos. This segment presented by Toledo Town and Tackle, United Rentals, Santone Lures, and Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis. For a great day in the water with Johnny, go to lakeforkbigfish.com and schedule your next fishing getaway. Take it away, guys.
Hey, just can't get enough of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show? Tune in Saturday morning, 6 to 8, for more news from the great outdoors with Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master Steve Graff. These guys are full of great info that's guaranteed to make you a better hunter or fisherman. Tune in from 6 to 8 Saturday mornings right here on 1130 The Tiger, the home of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show.
Hey, still yet to come on today's show, Martin Elshot is going to be on with Team Elshot and Price, probably the winningest team in the last 40 years
that I would know of, yes.
Around here. Martin's going to be on the show with us, and they recently won the Bass Champs Team Challenge. And speaking of that, we're going to have Chad Potts on from the Bass Champs Tournament Trail, and he'll give us an idea as to what's new for the year of 2018.
And he'll preview their regionals that'll be here in Shreveport on Red River South
in October.
Yep.
So the regionals, is that a Louisiana region or an East Texas region?
It's their overall championship.
It'll be 200, 300 boats.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big event.
Good.
They had it here was it last year or year before?
Year before.
Year before, I think, yeah.
You know, I don't know if you got the picture the other day. Steve sent a picture of a fish, 5-something.
Yeah, caught it on Sibley Lake.
Lake.
I got it.
Yeah, I sent him a text.
You may send it again?
No. I told him, I said, send me a picture of 4 more, and we'll change your name from the Dink Master.
Yeah.
I never heard another one.
Never got no more pictures.
There he is, baby.
I saw it.
So obviously he fished all day long, and that was the only fish he caught.
Rattle trap, stutter step, baby.
So
get you some.
But you know, you and I fished this weekend, Gary.
Yeah.
Not together, but against.
You kicked my butt. That's all right.
No, I didn't. We had the Landers Ram Specialty Tournament presented by Bayou Outdoors, and it was a little idea I came up with, and opened it up to drew some teams out of the Boss Tournament, but opened it up to all our sponsors that were wanted to send a team. And I think we had 17 or 18 teams out on Cross Lake, and the format was kind of neat. I got all the base furnished, and I want to thank Strike King Lures.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank Santone Jigs, and I want to thank especially Daryl Laurent and the folks at Mr. Twister for furnishing the bags for baits for all these teams. And the format was that you had to fish the Strike King KVD double-bladed buzzbait.
First time I ever threw one.
Yeah, from starting time until 8 o'clock. And you had the Mr. Twister Buzzbug trailer. But everybody was throwing the same bait, the same color for the first 2 hours. Then at 8, you swapped to the Strike King KVD 2.5 square bill crankbait. And we fished that until 10 o'clock. Then from 10 to 12, everybody was throwing. They had a black and blue Sandtone jig with a Mr. Twister Buzz Bug trailer, black and blue. So at that time, everybody was fishing the same bait. Then we wrapped it up the last 2 hours. You had the option of fishing the Mr. Twister Hang 10 worm, which is 10.5-inch worm in red bug, or they're flipping out, which is like a beaver type bait in black neon.
And I throw that all the time anyway.
So everybody was at the same time was fishing. So it was like, it wasn't whether you go to Cross Lake and figure out where to catch them or whatever. It was like in 2 hours, could you figure out how to catch 1 or 2 fish on this bait?
And the sad part is if you start catching them on one bait, you start dreading when that time is over.
Oh, don't want to switch.
Yeah, that's right.
Dad, gum, man, I was just getting them to bite this.
Yeah.
And when the smoke cleared, I asked all the teams, and there was fish caught on all baits. There was never nobody did not catch fish on some of the baits, but we had a great time. Hats off to and we've got him on the line. Billy Phipps and Paul Wilson took first place. They won. They had 5 fish that weighed 14.56. They won $1,000 from the tournament plus $600 in the side pot. Second place was John Wayne Kennedy and yours truly. He and I fished together. We had a $13.58. We won $700 plus $400. Wayne Watson was third, fishing by himself. His partner couldn't make it. He had a $12.90 and he won $500 plus $300. David and Dawson Cowden, father and son team, one of the sponsors of the Thursday night tournament. They had 12.40, won $400. Ralphie Overton fishing with Ray Welch. They were fifth place. They had $11.75 and they won $300. Claude Eccles and Cody Brazell had big fish of 4.91 and they won $300 for that. And we've got on the line with us the winner, one of the winners from the team of Billy Phipps and Paul Wilson. How you doing, Billy?
I'm good, Mike. Enjoying your show, buddy.
Well, thank you so much. Give us the angler's opinion. I'll be honest with you. I told somebody about the 5th or 6th fish that rolled on that buzzbait that didn't take it, and I couldn't throw like a Comito or something in there to follow it and catch it. I got to thinking, who came up with this stupid idea? But
hey, Billy and them had their limit at 8 o'clock.
Really?
That comment was made by us too. We missed 4 fish on the buzzbait, but we also caught 2 nice squares on it.
Well,
so and a couple of them we had on and got off, but then there was 2 that just plumb missed the bait. I don't know how they could do that. Looked like it had a 6-foot trailer hook on it. So
now, Billy, you said y'all caught your limit early. I mean, so did you do any culling for the rest of the day, or did you have everything you needed right off the bat?
No, when it came time to change from the buzzbait to the crankbait, we had 2-way fish in the live well, and we had 4, 2 on and 2 missed. Now, I'm talking about those 4 got off before we could ever put them in a boat. Then on the crankbait, I caught a nice fish, and Paul caught a small fish. I'd say 12 1/4, whatever it was. And then when we got to the jig, I caught our 5th-way fish, and I caught 1 short fish. But then when we got to the plastic, Paul wanted to fish the little creature type bait that we had.
Flipping out, Mr. Twister.
Yeah, and I have y'all talking about a while ago with Johnny and them about the shaky head. I really like fishing that's in these worm on a shaky head. So I put the 10-inch on a shaky head. I did not have any bites on it, and Paul called 2 or 3 times. And that's how we ended up. Now I know he had 2 fish on off of some docks that he lost at the boat on the creature bait, but we called to what we weighed in with that creature bait. The only bait we didn't catch anything on was the 10-inch worm.
Well, and that's actually, we caught, I think, 3 of our weigh fish. We called one time, and 3 on the 10-inch worm. So we got lucky. Not lucky. We went to good sponsors. We got good baits, and there was fish caught on all the baits. So I think it worked out good. But in all honesty, probably less fish caught on the jig. John Wayne caught our biggest fish, about 4 3/4 on the jig, and that's the only bite we had. But it's just some days they bite a jig and some days they don't.
Pete was swimming it, and Pete had a really good fish hit it, but it just didn't get it came unbuttoned real quick. Hey, Billy, now when with you guys, was there ever a time that if you'd have been in that spot, you wish you had anything other than what you were throwing then? Because I wouldn't have changed anything.
Well, the only time is with the buzzbait, and I'm like Mike. I would have loved to throw a piece of plastic in there after they missed those buzzbaits, because you can just about, I'd say 7 times out of 10, they're looking for something if they hit the water like that. I've seen it happen too many times on all the lakes. If they miss a buzzbait, you can pick up a jig or a worm and throw it in there and get them to bite it. So, well,
what went wrong? Mother Nature dealt us kind of a bad hand.
It was bad there for a little bit.
At 4:30, a front comes. I mean, I leave the house. There's not a breath of wind blowing. It's hot. I get to Cross Lake, and I can't launch the boat for the north wind blowing and the rain. And if that had happened hour and a half or 2 hours later, we would have crushed them on the buzzbait. But that front came through. By the time we started fishing, the wind was had gone from the north to the east and was dying.
Yeah.
And it was just not a top water situation.
Right.
And yes, and I would have never thrown a buzzbait over about 10 casts that morning without a bite, and wound up having to fish it 2 hours and 15 minutes, but had 7 bites on it. So Claude and Cody caught a 4.5 and a 3 on the buzzbait. So really kind of had to do with where you started, if you started on it, and if you got lucky, because conditions were not conducive because of the way the front passed through of a good topwater bite.
One thing, Billy, he called me after his victory, and he said the key to his victory was the fact that he listens to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show, and the information he has gained from this program
that'll do it.
Put him over the top.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't take anything that somebody went to Northwestern. I take it with a grain of salt.
There you go.
It's an old McNeese cowboy talking. Lord.
So, Billy, when it's all said and done, would you go fish another tournament like that tomorrow?
Paul told me to call him the next time Mike had one. And you see the reason, my fishing partner is my daughter. I have my middle daughter loves to fish, and we've been fishing Mike's stuff for, I think it's the 3rd or the 4th year, and Lisa is really fun to be in the boat with, and of course I've got 4 wonderful children, but she's the outdoors person in my bunch, and I hated she was in Florida on vacation, the first time she's ever taken a vacation, since she went to work, and so I called my partner in crime, Dale Hollingsworth, and he was going to be at some ball games with his grandkids, so I called Paul. Paul and I've been friends for years. Raised on the lake together down there, but that's the first time we'd ever fished together. We just share information at the BFLs and stuff like that.
I'm gonna forgive you for not calling me, Billy, but that's all right.
And I'm gonna say good call.
Well, we got in the water, Paul, that morning before we ever fished. He said, "Where we're going?" I said, "Look, Lisa and I got a place down here at Willow Point that we start, and I hadn't been on the lake since the BOSS on Cross Lake, and Paul hadn't been there in 2 years. So I said, that's the only place I know to go start. We'll be close to the bridge when we come to the jig and the worm, and the crankbait. I know that bridge holds fish all year long. So I said, we'll be down there, and then we'll just make a decision as the time comes, Now, Mike said that morning, says, everybody set their phone for 7:59 and 9:59. I told Paul, I said, I don't even know how to answer the phone hardly. I can't do that phone. So I wrote it all down on my shirt. I showed McCoy after.
Yeah, he did. He wrote it right on.
Yeah, I said, this is how a redneck keeps up with stuff. So.
Billy Phipps, congratulations to you and Paul. That was a great tournament, and you guys did an awesome job. And it couldn't have been any better fitting that you were able to walk away with the victory on that one.
Well, I'll tell you. I think you told me this morning on the show that you was lactose intolerable. Well, this year I've been bass catching intolerable. That's the first good day I've had on the water. They're all good days, but that's the first ending I've had that was good this year. At least not struggle a lot this year, but it's just the way it goes. When you show up at the lake, if it's your turn, it's your turn, whether you've been there and pre-fished or not.
Amen.
Yep.
Thank you, Billy Phipps.
Thank you, buddy. We'll
All
talk to you later.
Hey, good show. Enjoy y'all, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
Hello.
That's right, it's hour 2 of the best outdoor show on radio, Hooking Up and Tracking Down. This segment presented by Ranger Boats, the Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series, along with Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, reminding you to rotate your tires every oil change in order to extend the life of your tires. Now back to Jay Watley, Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master, Steve Graff.
Thank you for tuning in, hooking up and tracking down Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger Pro staffer Steve Graff.
Hour 2.
Mike Eccles, the Mud Hen, is here, and of course, little Topwater's in there. He's got his Metallica shirt on with his black rim
Fedora.
horn glasses and a little fedora
That
thing.
looks like a little Tom Landry hat.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that salute to Tom Landry?
You know,
Yeah,
he's,
totally, that's it.
I'm thinking you're wanting to be a Vosberry.
yeah, I love Vosberries.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's...
Tastes delicious.
Hey, on the phone, Martin Elshout from Team Elshout and Price. You guys just won the Bass Champs Team Challenge. No surprise for in the winner's circle there. You guys have been at this since when, Martin?
Gosh, when they first started having team tournaments, which I think was probably the late 70s, early 80s, so we've been at it almost 40 years.
You've almost got the record marriage going right now. You understand that?
I think we probably do.
You know, if y'all were to split up, then there's community property that comes into play on this, right?
There's definitely community property on some of the lakes.
All right, so you guys just won the Bass Champs Team Challenge. Where was that?
That was actually in a small private. I think they had like 700 acres of small lakes in Texas, just west of Waco.
And it was and
West of Waco is New Mexico.
And Martin, it was a prime body of water from what I saw. I mean, again, let me kind of set this up for our listeners that don't understand what this Bass Champs Challenge really was. Normally, Bass Champs has championships every year. Well, they took their Team of the Year, Angler of the Year, and championship winners and combined them into a team format tournament, and it was a bracket-style format.
And then for 2 hours, they could only fish a buzzbait.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah. But it was a great format, and when the first team at the top of the list and the first bracket was Martin Elshot and Mark Price, I said, "Oh, this bunch of teams in trouble," because I know what them guys can do. And I was really impressed with the whole format. Martin, was really well done, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. It was great. They where we fished, they've got numerous small lakes, 50 to 100 acres. So every bracket or every tournament was on a different lake. So each morning we got up and we were going to a new lake. Nobody had seen the lake. Nobody had pre-fished. So and we had a limited number of rod and reels, 3 rod and reels, and only Berkeley tackle, and put us on the water for 2 hours and the best 3 fish.
so what did y'all wind up weighing? What was your best 3?
I think the second round, our best 3 was right around 14 pounds.
Woo, son. Some toads in that pond, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, all 3 ponds that we fished were really good, and course, the first 2 rounds were done in August, and it was hot. The first round we fished, it was 100 degrees. We fished from 1 o'clock to 3:30 in the afternoon in August, and the fishing wasn't that great as far as large ones. I think we had like 11 pounds, but most of the lakes was cookie cutter fish. Everybody caught in one lake 3-pounders. The next lake you'd catch 4-pounders, 4.5s, and the difference in each of our matches, we were able to catch one maybe a pound bigger than the cookie cutters.
Mm-hmm. You know, Eccles brought this up earlier this year, and it really comes into play in this. You guys have stood in the winter circle as much as anybody anywhere on God's green earth. And Eccles said that, you know, that the difference between usually a good year and a bad year, it's kind of like when Steve Graff used to play ball, and my son played college ball, playing error-free ball, not losing fish. That a good tournament or a good year comes about when, you know, just for some reason the good Lord puts his hands on it and you don't lose this fish. You
everything goes right.
Everything goes right. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely, no doubt about it. I can think back of several tournaments that championship-style tournaments where Mark and I have maybe lost a good fish that have cost us winning the championship, which would have made the year. And then, you know, when you really have a good year, you kind of think back and said, you know, we fished really good this year and didn't lose a couple key fish. So, yeah, definitely.
Well, the thing that impressed me, Martin, with watching you and Mark on this episode, of course, I fished against you for a long time, and I've donated a lot of money to y'all. But what makes, you know, I noticed just watching you two guys in the boat, I couldn't figure out, you know, usually one guy's in charge, another guy's just kind of back there in the back of the boat or whatever. Y'all both seem to be on equal ground there. What is that the key to y'all's ability to fish together?
Oh, I think so. We fish so long together. It's amazing sometimes. We'll be fishing and kind of struggling, and one of us will make a statement, let's do that, and the other guy say, I was thinking the same thing. And I guess we just think alike, and we fish real good together. Mark's you know, you can see in the tournaments he likes to put that crankbait on and go catch a limit, where I'm just kind of in the back just throwing a big worm or something, looking for a big fish. And we kind of do that when we fish the regular tournament circuits. You know, Mark will try to catch that limit real quick, and I'm a little more easygoing. I'll be looking for a big bite. And
well,
Mark, just getting together, we know what each other likes and what we want to do.
Well, Martin, I was Mike Eccles here, and I've made a statement a couple of times that I believe the team of Elshot and Price is without a doubt the best team that has out of Louisiana, and I could probably broaden that, and y'all can back that up. I mean, you can say, oh, probably not, but you've done what it takes to win those honors, at least in my mind. We were just talking about it a while ago, I see a lot of teams now in tournaments get together, two guys get together, fish one tournament or fish 1 year and quit, and then they go try to find somebody else. I don't think that people put the time, the effort, and the into forming a team. They want this the way of the world, the instant gratification.
Yeah.
And you know, surely y'all didn't the first year y'all fished together. Y'all didn't start off just on fire, and you've had to have had bad years since then. But it's just so admirable the way y'all have held the team together and grown together and formed what once again I think the greatest team to ever come out of the South.
Well, I appreciate that, and oh yeah, we've had our rough years, but you know, one good thing about having the same partner is you'll get to where you can rely on them. One big thing is you don't have to share your spots with you share it with one team guy, and then the next year you jump to another partner, so you're sharing it with him plus your old partner sharing it with somebody. Pretty much you can write that place off. And
there you go.
You know, Mark and I, we've got some places, especially like on Toledo Bend, that we really don't share with anybody. we'll hit them in a tournament. And if we're fun fishing, we don't even fish them because we're actually, when we go fun fishing, we're looking for other places. So,
That was going to be my question. Were there places that you just did not go unless money was on the line?
yeah, pretty much so. I mean, like on Toledo, we might run by there if we're just fishing one day and see if something's in the hole and catch a couple. But, yeah, there's a couple places that we really kind of save for our tournaments.
Martin, what advice, we got a lot of people listening to this show, a lot of them are team guys. What advice do you offer anybody looking for a team partner? What should they be looking for in a partner?
Well, first of all, you've got to find somebody that loves to fish as much as you do and is willing to put time on the water before a tournament. Guys are so good nowadays, you just can't show up for a tournament and go fishing and expect to do well.
Yeah.
And it takes both of you to put time on the water and look for new stuff. Don't keep going back to the same old places. And Mark and I have learned one thing: when you're out fishing and the fish are biting, that's the time to go look for a new spot. If you're out on the lake and you're not catching nothing in the holes that have fish in them, it's hard to go find a new spot because they're probably not biting there. So time on the water and looking for new stuff, I think, is really important.
You got to have somebody that's got the exact same level of commitment that you do.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So what about styles of fishing? Like one guy may be a jig guy, another guy may be a crankbait, spinnerbait guy. Is that important, you think?
I guess it is, but you got to be pretty versatile to do what the fish want. A lot of times in practice, Mark, especially if we're in different boats, we'll be doing different things. But when it comes tournament time, we kind of get dialed into the same thing. What's working best?
Which one of y'all make sandwiches for tournament day?
When we do have a sandwich, Mark will bring them, but we don't eat much when we're fishing.
Hey, let me tell you, don't get in a boat with Graff or Pete Daniels, because I'm telling you right now, you'll weigh 14 pounds more than when you got in there.
Well, Mark told me that, if y'all decide to split up sometime, to call me. He said, I'll make sure to tell Martin to call you if you need a partner. So just holler at me, Martin, if you need
Hey, I'm the best sandwich you'll get. It's on Hawaiian
I'll
bread.
feed you now.
Yeah, he can't catch anything, but he can feed you.
I will feed you.
Hey, Martin,
that's more important.
There you go.
Back years ago, when I first started getting beaten in the Federation by Elshot and Price, you were in the Darbone area, but you've moved to Mississippi or something now?
I actually live in South Louisiana, in a small town called Abita Springs, just outside of Covington.
Okay. So what took you, because you were from that area, what took you to South Louisiana?
Granddaughter.
There you go.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah.
Now, how much has that affected you? Evidently not much affected you and Mark fishing together. I mean, that's a long-distance relationship, so how does that work out?
Well, it's cut way back on our tournament. We still do bass champs, and we still like to do fishers of men. But it's kind of cut back on some of the local tournaments, and Mark has fished with a couple other guys up in North Louisiana, and they've done real well. I think they were Anglers of the Year and Bass and Bucks on one circuit, maybe Anglers of the Year on media. I'm not positive on that one, but
I got to call Mark.
Yeah.
I got to give Mark a call.
Mark's way too good to fish with you, Greg.
That's what I need. I need that guy.
He's probably the stronger of the two of us.
I don't know about that.
I don't believe that, Martin.
Now, one of the things, Martin, you just said a minute ago, finding somebody that's got the commitment level of that you have,
and dependability.
Yeah.
That was crucial.
Exactly. There comes a point where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put that time in, there gets to be a resentment if that other person isn't willing to do what it takes. Doesn't it?
No doubt. Sure is. Yeah.
Well, brother, thank you so very much, and congratulations on the recent win. I assume you guys are already marking your calendar to win it again next year, right?
We'll be. Well, I don't know if we'll be invited back to the TV challenge. We didn't make Anglers of the Year. We we had a bad first tournament, and then we did real well from there on out on the Bass Champs. But Chad Fox over there has mentioned that he might invite the angler or the champions back for to try to defend the title. So maybe we'll still get another shot at it.
We'll put a word in for. We got Chad coming on next, so we'll put a word in for you.
Yeah, put a word in there. Tell him I gave Bass Champs a plug.
We'll do that.
Thank you, brother. Martin Elshout from Team Elshout and Price. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger.
Just a reminder that you can catch us again Saturday mornings from 6 till 8 here on 1130 The Tiger. This segment presented by Natchitoches Ford, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, and the Cowboys Wild Game Washer. If you don't have a game washer, you've got to have one of these. Go to GameWasher.com to learn more. Now back to the guys who could use a good washing, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
Thank you for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. Gary McCoy, along with the old mud hen Mike Eccles. The Ranger Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff is here, and a little Topwater's in there pushing buttons right now. I assume he's trying to get Chad Potts on the phone with us right now. We're hoping to have Chad on from the Bass Champs Tournament Trail. And these Bass Champs, are they the ones that they actually put on the Skeeter Owners Tournament?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 different tournaments they're involved with.
Yeah,
You're
and
right.
they got Fishburne to do their tournaments for them with that Skeeter.
Because I was busy.
But let me tell you what, Mike. You know, you're not far from him. He's just funny.
He is hilarious.
He is just funny. I mean, genuine to the bone. I don't think his stuff is rehearsed or anything. It's just funny.
And he understands bass fishing.
Oh, yeah.
He fished the elite level.
Yeah.
I mean, he
I
understands.
went to the airport to pick him up one day for something here in town, and of course, you know that now you can't just walk around the airport like you used to.
Right.
And I was looking for him. I could see a guy way down the hall on the phone with his back to me, and with his back to me, and I couldn't tell if it was him. So I called him on the phone. I said, "Fish, this is Eccles. What are you wearing?" You know, because this guy had on like a red sweater. He said, "White bikini top." Just like that.
Sad news. We are not going to be able to speak with Chad Potts from the Bass Champs Tournament Trail. He is wrapped up, got another commitment that's hopped up on him. So hopefully we'll try to get him on another show here in the near future. One of the things, though, that occurred to me with the style and the types of tournaments that Bass Champs does do are those big mega tournaments? Are they a thing of the? I mean, is Bass Champs it? They
are the number one, and I'll say it's with Eccles sitting here. They're the number one team circuit in the nation.
Absolutely.
Fishers of Men.
And
Where's Fishers of Men on that list?
I'd probably say 3
top
or
5?
4. Yeah, they're top 5.
Now, what about media? What about media?
Media is a good circuit. You know, I don't know how their numbers are in Texas now.
Yeah.
Then
they've still got Media Bass. I think Dale Taylor's still running it over in the Monroe area.
Now, see, it's with intent that you keep our boss tournaments local right here. I mean, you know, we're talking about bodies of water right here. Have you ever thought that you might like to do something like on Rayburn and maybe on up to, you know, let's say Bull Shoals or Table Rock or something like that?
You know, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, because we are, although we are sponsored the Boss Tournament is sponsored by Ranger Boats, and the Cash Splash is sponsored by Triton Boats. It still comes out of our dealer.
Right.
You know, and
you still want to help him sell boats.
That's it. And it's just, you're not going to achieve a whole lot by, that's what some of these younger anglers that take the step, and they're going to maybe step out and fish BASS or something. They first thing they want to do is go to their boat dealer and say, "Hey, I'm fixing to fish bass, and
give me a boat.
Give me a boat. Or I'd like to give me some money or something like that." And they realize it doesn't matter, you know. If you're probably not going to get on stage,
right,
on camera, but if you do, fishing up in Minnesota is not going to help a dealer in Shreveport.
Right.
Now, to me, where Mike could expand and be very successful at expanding would be over into East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
If you incorporate some East Texas lakes, because they sell a lot of boats in East Texas at Bayou Outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
They sell a lot of boats over in that area.
What about Lake of the Pines?
You know, great lake, diamond in the rough. A lot of people don't fish it, but you know, you can go to Darbone. Give an example. Washita River, good bodies of water, some incredible fishermen. That's where Elshot and Price originated from. Those people will not drive to Shreveport.
No,
they won't. They will not do it. So we can go over to Darbone and incorporate it in
drag everybody from here over there.
Over there, yeah, and you'll have 20 local anglers get in the tournament, and then that's it. They won't come to Shreveport and fish. And it's and out of the 70 or 80 we take from there over there, 69 of them are going to be mad because they have to go over there.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing what we need to do. Is when you stay local, when you have the numbers like what we have. Our problem right now is if something doesn't change, having 4 or 5 lakes in our area that we can put 80 to 100 to 110 boats on.
Right.
If something doesn't happen with the Sylvania issue, because we're losing fishing water. And,
Considering that, what would you say tournament wise is the most tournament friendly lake that we have here?
You talking about facilities, or you talking about
no? I'm talking
the lake
about
itself,
the body of water itself.
Okay, there's 2 sides to the coin. Tournament friendly for me putting the tournament on, or tournament friendly for the guys fishing the tournament.
Tournament friendly for the guys fishing the tournament, and tournament, you know, for the possibility of them being able to compete, and you know, all things being considered equal.
That's easy for me.
It's easy for me.
It'd be Cross Lake.
Yeah,
it'd be Toledo Bend.
It's Cross Lake. For me, it's Cross Lake just
Yeah.
because it's an easy body of water to get around on.
Yeah.
And you can catch fish just about anywhere.
Anybody can win on Cross Lake.
Yes.
It's just really small when you put 80 to 100 boats on it.
Right.
Toledo Bend is probably one of the fairest, but so many people. Red River killed Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
When Red River came into our picture,
Or Red River actually made Toledo Bend great again.
No, I'm talking about as far as putting it in the rotation of tournaments. People quit going to Toledo Bend when Red River came
That's
into
what
our
made
area.
it great again to me.
For the fishing.
Sure.
But when nobody goes down there, they don't want to go.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't feel like they can compete.
Yeah.
Now we're pretty well the floods and the change in the contour and the loss of fishing waters on Red River. I feel like Toledo Bend will be back into it. People are going to do it. But I mean, we got the H&W Championship coming up on Toledo Bend, and I'm already talking to people, and they're doing a great job that just don't want to make the drive.
Well, I remember.
But then give me a replacement.
Well, I do remember the response when we used to go to Huxley Bay, and Don may be listening, but a lot of people hated going to Huxley Bay, Toledo Bend.
See, I never heard that.
Oh my God!
When Angler's Choice was there, it was one of the biggest tournaments we had in the year.
That was a haul.
Oh,
it was a haul, and
See,
a lot of people hated going. We put in the Converse and we decided lacrosse. It was much easier. For us.
That is easy.
Yeah, it's easier, but
no, and it's a psychological deal.
It is it's
hour and 15 minutes to Huxley Bay.
Yep.
It's okay if you like Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
If you don't, then an hour and 15 or 20 minutes to Black Lake.
It's 4
You
hours.
love it. No, you love it.
Oh yeah,
if you like.
Yeah, if you like that body of water.
It's all
relevant.
Yeah.
What about Grand Bayou? How come Boss has not
Too
just
small.
can't?
You can't put 50 boats on Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't find enough place to park. That's the problem.
You know, I mean, the facilities, it's just not built for big tournaments. The accommodations are just not there.
And you're at the point with Boss, you got to have the right facilities.
We do. That's the deal. Anytime you put a tournament on, or multiple tournaments, or run a circuit, I've said this all along. How good a fishing lake is way down on the list of factors.
Yeah. I can see that.
You know,
Do you have a comment? BASS goes through that same thing
Absolutely.
when they start looking for lakes to put their events on.
You know, if it takes 10 pounds to win, or it takes 30 pounds to win,
Is irrelevant.
doesn't matter to me as a tournament director.
Yeah.
It's, can we get the facility? You know, do I have to worry about parking? Can we do the
got
takeoff, which we don't do?
electricity.
Yeah, you know, all of that. That comes first.
Well, somebody that's been involved with trying to lure BASS and FLW into the community, it's all about one thing with them guys. It's the money. They don't care about the fishery necessarily. They want, if you've got the money to put up from your community, they'll come. It's all about money.
Now, when you consider things for next year, is Red River even a player anymore?
I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
But I would take a stab at Red River if it had just been the undependability of the water level is what kept us off the last 2 years.
Right.
Now you've got to realize that, and I'm contradicting myself.
The fishing just isn't good.
It's not that good, but with that, you've lost. It'd be okay if you could still go fish the same areas, and it only took 12 pounds to win.
Yeah.
You can't even go to a lot of those areas now.
That's right.
So I mean, it's like going to Cross Lake and saying, "Okay, we can put 100 boats there, but it's bad," and then all of a sudden saying, "You can put 100 boats, but you can only fish on one side of the bridge."
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's really bad.
Yeah.
So,
do you think the Red River has lost its draw completely for the big national tournaments after this year?
I hate to be the negative person, but my answer is yes. I think it's over.
What will it take to turn it back around, or is that gone?
It's gone. It's gone because you just have to look back to
Arkansas River.
Arkansas River up there, and the guys telling us back when we first completed the lock and dam, started fishing here. He said, "You better enjoy it."
Yeah.
He said it'll be gone, and we didn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
It was gone up there. The river is built for navigation to keep that that navigation that channel open.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, you divert the sand away from that, and you choke off. It's a fact. It cannot be avoided, and it's finally happened here.
It backfills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing can be done about that.
Nothing.
You can't dredge out what Mother Nature put in there.
The only way to change it would be to drop all the dikes back down, cut the rocks, cut holes in the jetties where water can flow through the backwaters again.
And that's not what it's there for.
And that ain't happening.
Navigation was what it's there for.
But
That's right.
in my opinion, there's more money made on Red River for recreation than there is in this goofy, navigation that they're not 5 barges come up a year.
The port, the port, yeah.
Now that's probably not true in Natchitoches or Alexandria, stuff like that. But I don't think we
get that much barge
we do
traffic.
not have what they anticipated as far as river traffic,
Commercial side of it.
What about down around Natchitoches in that area? Is the river over with down there as well?
No, it seems to be holding up better on that end. I think because up here in Pool 5, there's a lot of flat backwater areas up here. Whereas in Pool 3, which is all the way down in Natchitoches Pool, there's a lot of deeper oxbow cuts. They seem to be deeper.
Yeah.
Than they seem to be up here.
And you didn't get nearly as much silt and stuff into those, choking them off.
I guess not. I mean, some of them were choked off,
but it happened. It happened in 5. Didn't it happen in 4? Y'all were talking about all those lakes.
Sullivan's is starting to, a little jungle. Getting in the little jungle used to have 3 and 4 foot ditches in the back. Now they're about 1.5 feet.
Wow.
So, and that happened in the last 2 floods.
All right, sit tight. We got a special report from our super sleuth here, Mike Eccles. Some illegal hunting charges from our HUTD detective, Mike Eccles. And Graf's got a hunter's summertime things to do list for us. That's next. Hooking up and tracking down. 11:30. The Tiger.
Didn't take long for him to catch my attention. He was long on grace and short on religion.
This show would not be possible without our fine board op and bowling king, Jay Wadley. That's right. Who does a great job of pushing all the buttons and producing this show. This segment presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Red River Waterway Commission, Seagar Fishing Line, and United Rentals, making all your home projects easier by providing great equipment and tools to get the job done. How about it, guys?
Nothing like patting yourself on the back.
Hey, we got a bowling king in our presence.
I didn't ad-lib any of that. I just read the script as it's sent to me, no matter what it says. I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah. Here's your Daiwa Gamakatsu best times to fish. This weekend is rated as excellent. Good. There's a 30% chance of rain, who'd have thought it, on Friday, 50% on Saturday and Sundays, with the highs around 90 and lows in the lower 70s. There will be a full moon this weekend as well. Best time to fish is going to be midday, Friday. Be out there chunking and winding. 10:40 a.m. to 1:40 p.m. Sunrise will be 6:13, sunset 8:21. Saturday, best time to fish 11:25 a.m. to 2:25 p.m. Sunrise at 6:13, sunset at 8:20. Sunday, 12:15 to 3:15 p.m. Sunrise 6:14, sunset 8:20. This has been your Daiwa Gamakatsu best time to fish.
Thank you, Mike Eccles.
Wasn't that good?
Good job.
Buddy. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed.
He didn't stutter on that one.
It was good news, though.
You know,
It was good
I've
news.
got so much stuff laying out.
He actually
here.
got excited when he saw excellent.
Okay, we got a special
Well, I
report.
was
You've done
hoping-
some investigative reporting.
Well, you know, everybody knows the world famous Roland Martin.
Yeah.
If you know Roland Martin, you know Scott Martin, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, me and Scott Martin, well, maybe not that Scott Martin.
A different Scott.
Yeah, yeah.
A local Scott Martin.
Yeah. We had an outdoor TV show about probably 15, 16 years ago. And so on a small scale, I know how difficult it is to, when you've got those 2 or 3 days or 4 days, whatever, you're going to produce a show to make things happen.
Get footage
Because
in a
it
can.
Just,
Yeah.
you know, seems like everything in the world. But it should never interfere with you being ethical and law-abiding.
Right.
Amen.
It should not.
Right.
The chief executive officer of Plano Synergy sent out a strong worded press release Thursday, this has been a couple of weeks ago, announcing the company's decision to part ways with Billy Busbus Jr., the host of Wild Game Nation on the Outdoor Channel, in the wake of his recent Wyoming poaching sentence. The company, which offers an extensive line of hunting and fishing equipment like the Fraybill and Barnett crossbows and Halo optics, they didn't mince word when it came to a letter sent out from the CEO, David E. Duddick. And basically what this is Billy Busbus, who is originally from Louisiana and, of all things, was on the chairman of the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Commission. Now,
it gets good.
Now you got a background in law. I mean, something. This guy has got this this hunting show, which is on national TV now, and I don't even know the name of the show because I got off at Busbus.
He got kicked off the Outdoor Channel, didn't he?
Yeah,
it was the Outdoor Channel.
He was sentenced last month to 1.5 years of unsupervised probation and ordered to pay $23,000 in fines, and that was fines and restitution for allowing an antlerless elk to go to waste and for hunting without a proper license on his Wyoming ranch. He owned the property last fall. He also lost his hunting and fishing privileges in 45 states.
What have you got to do?
I'm telling you,
What
man.
have you got to do to get kicked out of 45 states to hunt?
That ain't hunting dove over a baited field.
No.
And
Jeez.
what happened? I don't know whether it was Bo or I bet it was.
Do they have video of you beating the baby seal with the baseball bat?
Just about.
Okay.
Supposedly he was trying to shoot. I was trying to shoot a trophy elk, and he wound up shooting a cow calf.
How do you make that mistake?
You know, I'm not going to sit here and Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe the animal just stepped in front of his scope.
Okay.
You know, stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, I did see a show this past year where a girl shot the wrong animal that the spotter beside her was telling her, "Do you see the one I want you to shoot?" Yes, and she shot the wrong one. She shot the wrong elk instead of the one he wanted her to shoot, and turns out it was antlerless elk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Big cow.
Yeah, it's a big cow, and he was not happy with her.
Yeah, but I mean, she had the scope in her hands.
Yeah.
She at no point looked at the elk's head.
I don't know. He was describing which one to shoot, and she said, "Yeah, I see it."
Okay, but
it was
so you know,
so it can happen. Is my point?
It can happen. Should it? No, but a lot of things that shouldn't happen do.
Well, apparently the court of law says he did it wrong.
Well, he did
because
when he killed the animal, let me see where I can find this. Busbus apparently ordered his ranch manager to drag the calf into an irrigation ditch in an attempt to conceal it.
Wow. So
he made the mistake. He shot a calf elk instead of the trophy he was shooting at. He was on his own property. Then he takes orders somebody, the ranch manager, to drag it into a ditch so we don't have to report this. A couple of things went wrong. Apparently, you've got witnesses.
Yeah, and you got a snitch somewhere.
And there's a dang good chance you had it on film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
film can be destroyed, but whoever the snitch was, somebody turned him in.
And somebody.
That reminds me, I had a real good friend. We were down on Toledo Bend back in the day, and this was back when you couldn't shoot a canvas back, and he shot the duck, and I'm telling on him now. He's gone now. He's passed on, so it doesn't matter. But he shot the duck, and it was a canvas back, and he tried to stomp it in the mud so that it. And he was right there close to the old Grapevine launch, and the game wardens were right there, and the duck floated back up out of mud right beside him. You got a ticket for shooting a canvas back.
Well, here's a little icing on the cake. In a separate incident In 2016, Busbus was also cited in Wyoming for purchasing a resident general elk tag as a non-resident and for purchasing more than the authorized number of deer license.
So he was buying them under several names?
Well, there's some states where you can go into and buy a buck tag, and then you're allowed to buy one or two doe tags. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know the case.
Just like going to a vending machine and you walk into this one and put them all together?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, the deal is, here's this guy that is tied in with Plano, which is, international.
Wow.
He's got a show on the Outdoor Channel. They've merged with Wild Game Nation. And so you're representing these great companies.
Wow.
And they're paying your bills.
You know what this is a case of?
You were the commissioner of the Wildlife and Fisheries.
Yeah, he got too comfortable. He thought he was untouchable.
And so now you've got two incidences in 2 years to where you have broken state laws.
I wonder if these words were ever spoken. Do you know who I am?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. You got too comfortable.
Do you know who I am?
Now,
it tickles me that that the law applies to everybody.
Right.
Now, when he took his show and they merged, they became this merger between Wild Game Nation and Plano. He took with him his son, and I tried to get to Plano to try to get somebody to talk about this. But come to find out, his son is now on the board with this company, so they weren't interested in giving a report. And I guess I can understand.
But it's a blackout of them, and they didn't deserve that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's just like I said, I've done a little bit of TV stuff, and I know how difficult it is. Even putting together just common fishing shows. Hunting shows are 10 times harder to do than fishing shows.
I would believe
that's the reason we did it, and a lot of your companies, they'll travel to some of your lakes in Mexico to do their fishing shows.
Right.
Where we might go to the lake and in 3 days maybe put together a decent show.
Right.
You go to a lake in Mexico, you can put together 2 shows in a day.
Yeah.
Easy. 3 days you can do 3 shows.
Right.
Easy.
Right.
So there's ways around it, but you just don't ever get so big that you think that you're above the law.
Right.
And this guy apparently, he apparently
felt
did
that
it.
way.
And what a bad deal to happen to, especially to the.
Was
company.
he still a resident of Louisiana?
I don't know.
Okay.
Know.
All right. While we're on the subject of hunting, for all you summertime guys out there looking for something to do, we got a things to do list for you. Number 1, renew your license and lease agreement, and especially your lease agreement. We had Hunter Mulligan on last week. You missed that one.
Yeah.
We know you'd had 100 questions for Hunter, but we really did a good job of covering that. Hunter did a great job of explaining it, the important topics to make sure that when you're get in a lease agreement, what you're looking for.
You know what I'd like on our Facebook page?
What?
If you will, if you're listening right now and you've liked us on Facebook, if you would, just give me an idea as to what you pay per acre on your lease.
Yeah.
Is it $3 an acre, $4 an acre, $10 an acre? Because I'm thinking that some of these timber companies are thinking that property is way more valuable than it is.
Timber companies have gotten smart. They're bidding it out now to the highest bidder.
And it's just, it's getting out of hand.
Number 2, clean and check your guns for repairs. Good time to do that. Probably most of them are already clean, but might want to check your gun for repairs. Number 3, relocate and make repairs to duck blinds or deer stands. You kind of hinted to me you were doing that last week.
Yeah, I got one that's
relocating your duck blind can be a chore sometimes.
Yeah, my son and my nephew did that last weekend. And now I've inherited a duck blind behind my house. It's like, hey, we're going to need some help working on this.
Number 4, check feeders for repairs and battery replacement on timers. Now's a good time to do that as well.
Well, you're going to, if you left your feeder out there.
I don't.
First off, the hogs may have torn it up, unless you got the one and done. If you left the battery out there, just get it, put it in your truck, and throw it away.
Yeah.
It's no good. If you didn't, that's something, I don't do it. But, I mean, bringing these batteries in, setting them in the garage, putting a little charger on them, you can keep them for a year.
Right.
But you can't leave them out there and let them go down.
I take my feeders off the barrel. I leave the barrel out there, but I take the feeder off the barrel.
Oh, do you?
Every year. There's too many crooks in the woods these days.
Yeah. Number 5, Gary.
Number 5, upgrade or purchase new deer stand chairs.
Yeah. Now's the time to do that, too. Yeah.
Who purchases deer stand chairs?
They are for purchase if you find them on sale.
You know what? You know somebody that works in an office.
That's right.
There you go.
You know somebody, and now you might have to sit in a deer stand with a chair with 3 wheels on it.
Now, there is a dealer in Natchitoches that's his sole purpose is to sell chairs, and he's got they're all out front of his store.
Martin Grau does that, doesn't he?
No doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, Martin Grau, Office Furniture Outlet, he sells a ton of deer stand chairs.
Yeah. All right, number 6, Mike.
If you're a bow hunter, check your bowstring for frays and replace it if necessary, especially if you have a crossbow.
Yes.
Keep those strings waxed and bow hunting, but shooting your bows and stuff, crossbow's not a big a deal, but with a recurve or a compound, a lot of people shoot in their backyard.
Should you, this may be a bow tech question, should you remove your bowstring from your bow? Should you have it removed during the off season?
You can if you've got a press and you can do it. I mean, I wouldn't take it. I've never done it.
Right.
The only time I ever had a string removed from a bow is when it broke.
Yeah, right, right.
You don't get yours restringed ever so often?
Restringed?
Restrung. Yeah.
Number 7, if you reload, stock up on ammunition right now. Now's the time to do your reload.
Number 8, make sure your field dressing tools are sharpened and good. Who wrote this?
Yeah.
Make sure your field dressing tools are sharpened and good.
Yeah.
I keep a pocket knife on me every day, 24/7, and if that sucker ain't sharp,
You got an old timer.
yeah.
Prepare your grounds for food plots. It's a little early to start disking to your food plot.
Yeah.
But
Here about September, you go in and start bush
get your
hogging.
tractor ready. Don't wait until the day you're supposed to do it to find out the disc is broke.
And speaking of getting tractors ready, get your ATV scheduled for tune-up and oil change right now.
Start looking now for good deals on dove ammunition.
And retriever owners, make sure to work your dog on a constant basis, not shop till you drop. Don't run them in the ground. It's too hot.
Hey, we'll have that list for you on the website. Check that out at HUTDshow.com. We are hooking up and tracking down 1130, the Tiger.
Well, this is it, our final segment. Please check out our new website at HUTDshow.com, an information highway for all things related to the great outdoors. This segment is presented by Nichols Department Stores, Kamakatsu Hooks, Spro Lures, and Toledo Town and Tackle. The largest tackle box on the bend with a great selection of Daiwa rods and reels, Spro Lures, and Gamakatsu hooks. One more time, here's Topwater Wadley, Chatterbait McCoy, Dinkmaster Graff, and Mudhen Eccles.
Headed for the Gulf Coast region for some great fishing? Well, don't be that guy who forgot to register for the CCA Louisiana Star Statewide Anglers Rodeo. Starting Memorial Day weekend and running through Labor Day, Star is Louisiana CCA's largest membership drive and helps provide funding for all types of coastal and intercoastal projects statewide. Anglers compete for over $500,000 in prizes. Boats to trucks, it's not too late, folks. Register now. Go to ccastar.com to learn more and to register for the greatest fishing tournament in the Gulf Coast region. Coastal Conservation Association of Louisiana, making a difference in the future of our waterways.
You know, Gary, you and I talked about this a while ago, and I didn't know whether we were going to say it or not, but we're going to throw it in. The fishing community lost a kind of a local legend this weekend. Hank Williams, who worked at General Motors and then was one of the biggest fishermen down on Toledo Bend, around for years.
A lot of people don't realize that he won the Federation tournament up in Indiana. Was it Indiana? Yeah, it was in Indiana.
Really?
He was one of the Federation team guys.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Hank Williams.
Shimano rep forever.
Yeah.
Worked with Mike Mills and all of them. We lost Hank this weekend, and our heart goes out to the family, and just one of the old hands.
I was with Hank. The old big wag worm was being poured. Gary Hughes had those. He had Kurt Carver's dad, Mr. Glenn, design that worm, and now Gary owned it, but Glenn, they had poured a bunch of those, and I want to say they were in a crabapple, and they handed Hank and I a little sack of those, and we went down on Toledo Bend and hit some of the old river holes down there, and we knew that they were on to
something big.
Yeah, and the fact that later on when Pradco bought those worms from Riverside, it just broke my heart because they discontinued them. And you can't find that worm anymore. I've still got a few, but you talk about, a guy who was always there. He one of the most unbelievable fishermen that I ever knew. He was the union rep, benefits rep at General Motors, and everybody knew and loved Hank.
Will be missed.
The only guy I ever knew that fished all day long in cowboy boots.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wow.
Every time.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it was like, come on, man.
Holy cow.
Golly.
All right, another thing too here. I want to encourage people to go to our new website, HUTDshow.com. I have posted on there a Bill Dance crappie salad recipe, which Mike thinks is a absolute sin.
It is
to put crappie in a salad recipe. But anyway, check it out. It's kind of like a tuna fish salad or chicken salad type recipe. According to Bill Dance, absolutely awesome. He thinks it's one of the best recipes he's ever had. And of course, anything's good on a Ritz cracker. But anyway, that's one of the things that Bill talks about. Check it out. And we got a blog on there.
I need to argue that point. There's a few things I don't want on a Ritz.
Also, check out our blog. I got old anglers versus the old generation versus the new generation. A little blog I posted on there, and I'm sure everybody will agree with what I have to say. So,
oh yeah, they always do. There's never any controversy there.
No. Did you know, Gary?
Did you know that in July of 1986, Helen Sevier and a group of investors purchased BASS from Ray Scott? She maintained ownership for 15 years until ESPN acquired the organization in 2001. And I did not know that she was the owner.
Yeah, I didn't either. She's out of Monroe too, if I remember right.
Really?
She's out of Monroe.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, when was look it up real quick. When was BASS founded? I'm just wondering how long Ray Scott had it before he sold it.
I want to say 20 years.
68,
18, 20 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
and she had it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I can honestly remember back in 1986, people thinking, a woman buying BASS, that ain't right.
Yeah.
But she was a business person.
Sure she was.
And she also was the founder of the first women's tour, the Lady Bass circuit.
Huh.
Yep. Sure.
Well, it was a lady that gave us some pink fishing license one year. Remember those? When she
yeah.
You remember
I
the pink
remember
fishing
that.
license?
I do remember that. I forgot about that. Number 2, Mike.
Jerry McInnes, one of 3 private private investors, along with Don Logan and Jim Copeland, purchased BASS from ESPN in November of 2010.
Good move, bad move, guys.
That was a great move.
It was a great move.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Have you read Jerry's book yet that we got?
I've half of it. I have, believe it or not.
Holy cow!
It was great.
It's a great book.
I like what I've read. So he's a great writer.
Well, he's just
he knows how to tell a story.
But the fact is that man was there when it all started happening, and
no
it's
doubt.
no more fitting. The only way it could have been more fitting is if Ray Scott had bought BASS back.
Yeah.
But Jerry McInnes having it, that's it's in the right hands.
Yeah.
Well, ESPN had BASS. That's what has given them the leg up, the permanent leg up on ESPN.
Yes.
Because their anglers, thanks to ESPN, are household names.
You bet.
Yeah. They've got just a, FLW has just as good of people,
Yeah.
just as well-run tournament.
Yeah.
Everything's it's just you look at the list of BASS anglers and the list of FLW anglers, and you say, I know him, I met him, I got his autograph, I know him. And then you get over here and you're like, I know him and him.
And both of
But
those
you know
fish, what? Both of those fish,
And
BASS. So,
But now that MLF is on CBS,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that that day's coming. That the Major League Fishing anglers are going to be the real superstar. They're already BASS and FLW superstars,
Right?
But they are going to. The younger generations are going to see that on Saturdays. I want to say around here it's like 11 o'clock on Saturday. Those are going to be household names for those young kids who might not ever be true anglers.
If they can ever figure out how to turn that into reality TV.
It is.
You know, I mean,
it is.
I would need some controversy. Number 3.
Just go with me a tournament. You want some controversy or reality?
Number 3 in our last one. 1972 lure manufacturer Mr. Twister patented the curly tail concept, utilizing the flexibility of silicone-based plastic to create a rubber lure with more lifelike action and vastly improve the fish catching effectiveness. I remember when that happened, guys. By the early mid-1980s, high sales volumes of Mr. Twister lures prompted many new entrants into the market, with competition soon leading to a broad and diverse selection of soft plastic lures being made available in a range of shapes, colors, and sizes.
You know who that was? Mr. Glenn Carver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law was plant manager down there at Twister while this was going on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep, middle 70s, yeah.
Do you remember the first auger tail worm you ever saw?
Yes, and I can't remember who made it.
I think mine was a Toledo tackle worm.
Mine was a Mr. Twister, and it was bright chartreuse, almost translucent chartreuse.
Yeah.
Was my first auger tail worm.
Now, when you say auger tail, you're not talking about just the regular twister
No,
tail.
the auger tail.
You're talking about the little ribbon tail.
The ribbon tail.
Yeah, mine was a Toledo tackle one.
Yeah.
And Daryl Laurent was with Toledo Tackle then, and that's when Daryl and I forged our relationship.
Oh, okay.
And then he went to Twister after that. When you think about those old school baits like that, what were your 3 best baits back then? A no-no? Was a no-no one of them?
Oh.
A big O?
A no-no.
The old purple no-no. Remember the old purple? It was a spinnerbait?
Listen to me. When the no-no came out, my brother-in-law went to Championship Tackle.
Uh-huh.
The whole family, we sat at home on weekends at night. We put the swivels, the 2 rings on the stainless steel swivel and put the blade on it at home.
Y'all made the no-nos.
We made the swivels and the blade. We got paid a penny and a half to put them together. And we could do, if Charlotte did the swivels at work, she was worked in the mayor's office on her lunch hour, she got a head start. We could do 1,000 of them a day at night instead of watching while we were watching TV. This was 1973-4. That was $15.
Wow.
$15. Wow. We could make as high as $45 on the weekend. We were rich.
Y'all had it rolling.
I remember going into TGNY.
Real quick, unless you got something else.
No, go ahead.
We skipped over this. The format, the tournament that you and I fished, the specialty tournament this week, we had a screw up. We had a team. I've just got to bring this up. I'm not going to mention name. We had a team that got their baits off. They fished one bait the third segment that they should have been fishing the fourth. Got them backwards. Led the tournament. Realized what they had done, came in, admitted their mistake, and withdrew.
Disqualified themselves.
30 seconds.
So it's, hats off to that. I don't want to call their names because they were embarrassed as all
But you
get
talk
out.
about integrity.
Yes.
And I need for them to know, the rest of us who were there, we were watching and we noticed your morals and your integrity. And hats off to you guys.
So it was good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being who you are.
You just did my final word.
Did it really?
Well, let's get it.
Every once in a while, an angler or fishing team does something unintentional that calls for them to step up and do the right thing. With so many rules and regulations that apply to so many different circuits, it's a miracle that violations don't occur more often. But this past weekend, 2 local anglers stepped up and did the right thing by coming forward with a minor violation that cost them a tournament win. They made a mistake and had the integrity and character to step forward and disqualify themselves for the sake of good sportsmanship. If only everybody had the same character as these 2 guys, the world would be a much better place. For For Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, Jay Wiley, and yours truly, Steve Graff, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week right here on 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down.